All right, hey everybody, TG here. Guess we're live in the markets, and yeah, about 8:30. And let's see, we got a lot of things to go through. The market has been very, very active, and so far I've been doing pretty well, guiding everybody, all my subscribers into how we're doing, and it's been great. So we've been making quick little money here and there, and I've been having to sit on my hands for a few weeks, but it looks like things are starting to come back, and so we've been starting to take some trades and having a good time with it. One thing I did want to bring to your attention, since we've been getting a lot of good activity, been getting great feedback, is the newsletter that I write twice a week. And I've gotten a lot of emails from you guys, subscribers, other people in general, who said, there's actually a lot of information here. It's really quite nice. So do check it out. I try to put effort into these things. I try to make sure that they are useful and kind of relevant and anything like that. It's not all just fluff. So be sure to come over here, check out profit-pilot.com, and just go through and read up on the various newsletters and stay subscribed if you want or something like that. So just want to show you guys more about that because sometimes I think people think newsletters are just like whatever fluff, but no, I get a lot of good info in there. All right, so let's jump over to the markets. Yep, Teresa, good to see you. I've been good. I've been doing well. How are you guys up there in Canada? Esteban, yeah, good to see you guys as well. And Compound Kid, nice with a K. So one of the first things that we've been seeing is this market has been oversold, and we can see that internally from just so many names out there that have just plummeted really, really far down. And we just needed to get a bounce at some point. Like, okay, let's turn around, let's start doing this. And I believe we're there. We're not out of the woods, but I do think that we're going to start working our way back up. Until I see something else, until I see otherwise. Today, if you look over the last couple days, look, we had that double bottom on the Nasdaq, pretty clear. We had some positive divergence right there from our double bottom as well. And then where did price go? Right to the daily 21. So this is some pretty good stuff that is just working out very, very nicely. In fact, you can even see here, did the same thing back in the day a few weeks ago. So we had that right there. That thing worked out pretty well. Just kind of doing its normal ebb and flow. Like we're trying to, now we're trying to actually get over the hourly 50, but it's going to take a little bit of time. It has some work to do. The last time it did it, didn't want to work. In fact, that was the short that I called. I was telling all of my subscribers about this. I think we had live trading going on and all that. I said, look, guys, here's an inverse trampoline move. I love this setup. I love the regular trampoline. This is the inverse trampoline. And this is a short. So if you guys like to short, there you go. And I know several of you took that. So good job for you out there. I was kind of dabbling with the UVXY, which worked out. I think I would have rather for this time. The volatility actually didn't pay out very well. It would have been much more lucrative if I just took the SQQQ and did something like that, or maybe some Nasdaq puts. So sometimes it's always a bit of a guess as to which one's going to be doing what. And if we look at the SPY. Yeah, Gary. Yeah, you're see. Yeah, I don't have glasses anymore. I got LASIK done, so I'm having to use like a crazy amount of eye drops until my eyes heal. But this is pretty slick. My right eye is super, super sharp. My left one, it's a little bit, but I think that might be the like bandage contacts that they put in there. So we'll see as time goes on. But yeah, my screen is pretty clear without glasses. So thumbs up on that. If anybody's been wondering about LASIK, I'm a fan. What can I say? All right, so if we look at the S&P here, I'm starting to see that there's a gap between price and the hourly 50. So at some point, I'm looking at that. We need to either retest it, or I wouldn't be surprised if we come back down below it. We have to keep kind of finishing this pattern out here. One way to look at this is if we go, do I have enough data back here? Well, let's see. Where do I need to go on this one? Let's try this. So I think if we go and we look back here a little ways, and I'm wondering something like this. Because if you look here on the hourly chart, you see how the S&P here kind of had a funky situation where it was over the hourly 50, but it was having some issues. And notice that the Moxie indicator was still below zero. So again, with that inverse trampoline move, and it's great that I can define these things. I think that really helps new traders. It helps people understand what we're trying to look at and how we actually trade and read the market. So the fact that I have these labels we can apply to things, I believe helps. So right there, inverse trampoline move. And what that did is that sent us off of a bigger double bottom. So we always have to figure out what the current market is, but do be aware that this issue with price over the 50, the Moxie indicator below zero, is not so great. And you can see that we do still have that situation right here, but the Moxie indicator is closer. It's definitely coming up. So we're just going to have to wait and see how price kind of wants to finish this and hopefully get going back to the upside. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that. Waldo, nice, yeah. So I put out a couple things. What, Express was one of those. That one is doing well. I just don't like to trade around earnings, but boy, this one would have been nice. So, you win some, you lose some, because if you look at then SFIX, this is why I don't like trading earnings. There you go. That went the other direction. So for me, earnings is just a complete gamble, complete crapshoot, because it's an event, and when it happens, it can be big. And I really just rather not deal with that, because if I had taken Stitch Fix and Express, I'd win one, I'd lose one. So I'm kind of washed out. You'd have to pick which one was the right one. So I don't really like doing that. And then, yeah, AMC, man, even this one was doing well. So, and then what I try to do with this whole kind of Reddit stuff and what's going on with this, I was trying to do my own over here at BBBY, Best Buy, or Bed and Bath Beyond. And yeah, I thought maybe it was going to keep running along the 15-minute 50, and it didn't. So this morning, and I'm sure we were probably a part of this big move down, because I got a lot of people who follow me. But what this morning I saw, look at price getting stuck underneath the 15-minute 50. So, sometimes the devil's in the detail, right? And this is what I teach for people. And I said, I'm seeing that, and I'm seeing that there is risk because there's price is still kind of off of the hourly 50. And the fact that this thing didn't go, it's like, why are these other things going, but this one's not? So that told me I should probably get out. So we did, and you can see it continues to melt down a little bit. Now, maybe it'll work out again sometime in the future, maybe, because right now we have a potential trampoline move here on the hourly chart, so we'll just have to see. But you can see here, stuck underneath the 15-minute 50, stuck underneath the 15-minute 50, and that's why I did not, that's why I got out of it. Yeah, Craig, if you guys see tears, it's because of the LASIK. But also happiness from good trades. We've been having a good time so far, and I am really, really looking forward to probably next week, because we did put a couple trades on this week. They're looking pretty good, but I think the market needs to keep figuring itself out, and a lot of these names need to keep figuring themselves out. I'm trying to think something I could show you. Let's see, TIGR as an example. These things are so overbought or oversold that they're going to just take some time before they really get going. So what we've been doing is, again, there's the double bottom, and these things were so oversold that a bounce was pretty natural. You can see here there was a big gap between price and the daily 8, and there was a big gap between price and the hourly 50. So a bounce was pretty natural and expected, and we played a couple of those, and then we got out, because what you can see here is, like, look, see how it got sold into this morning? That's because it went right into the hourly 50 and the 15-minute 200 and just went into some resistance overhead. So now we give it some time, we let these things kind of do their maneuvers, whatever, and the next thing I want to see is I want to see the hourly 50 do something like this, and then I want to see price get over and then follow them, and then that's where I'll buy. Okay, so it's going to take a little bit of time for this stuff to work out. And Brendan, yes, that ticker is on my radar, but I'm going to be keeping that one for my my subscribers, because I have a couple of exciting ones that I like. So I just want to leave some something to be specific for subscribers, because they're paying. All right, let's see. All right, so Tian, you're asking about Overstock. Why did I get out? Because it did what I wanted to do. We were really just trying to catch a bounce. Just like I showed you on Tiger, TIGR, that one, is we just got a bounce. And look where it went, third ATR, right? And I don't know if it went, the daily was kind of hard to read, but somewhere between like the daily 50 and the daily 21. So I was just catching a bounce like that. It would have been nice if it went a little bit further, but I could see that it was up there and it was likely to come back. And so just like I said with TIGR, is the next thing I want to see with Overstock and other stocks that are like this, is I want to see them eventually come back down to the hourly 50. Now, there's no guarantee that Overstock is going to stop at the hourly 50 today. It might go lower. It might actually bounce. We don't know yet, so we're going to have to keep kind of watching. But I was okay with this. We caught a 14% move in a day and a half or something like that, so we're pretty happy about that. Now, what I wish I had done was catch Riot, because that would have been much nicer. But there wasn't a setup for me, because price kept going down the other day and then it just popped. So I would have had to just kind of, I don't know, time it perfectly or understand the situation and been able to buy as price was going down as it was still below these moving averages. And that's not really how I operate. And so it popped. Okay, fine. There's no FOMO. You're not worried about this stuff because there's always going to be another trade. And I've got my eye on an hourly setup. So this was a 15-minute setup, like on a 15-minute time frame. Yeah, it was a nice move. I mean, that's a good percentage. Wish I was in it. But we got some of the overstock, we got some other stuff, and you know what? The market still has time to move itself around. There's still some working out. We haven't missed anything. Like if you look at GBTC, which is Bitcoin. Yep, I'm using this as a gauge. I could be trading GBTC, but I'm using it as the guide as to what I want to do for these other stocks. And look at this thing. We are outside of the third ATR. We're off the 8. We have not touched the hourly 50. So I'm looking for a pullback, Any kind of pullback, then I'll be getting into this stuff. But that's fine. I'm happy these things have stopped going down. They're moving up, and now we just find the right entry to get into them. And so that's what's working for us. Yeah. So yeah, Compound Kid. Actually, we should be Sarah. If you want to be posting in the room, Compound Kid. That is the Moxie indicator. It's what I worked on and developed, and it's great. I'm very very happy with it, of course, and that's what we work with. So if you're interested, there are links to go find it and pick it up and take the classes and learn how to trade with it. All right, then let's see, Neo. Neo finally turned around. But again, these things are it's their first bounce off of the lows. There's still work until these things start new uptrends. So this is why I'm not too worried about this stuff. And do you notice that the moves today all look very, very similar? Like, also notice that they look like the NASDAQ. Like what they do, hit the third ATR, they're getting sold into a little bit. They're trying to push past the hourly 50 while the Moxie indicator is below zero. It's getting sold into. And notice that the hourly 50 is still in a downtrend. So there's work to be done. We haven't missed anything. Trust me. The only thing we've done is stop going down, and you can catch that first little bounce. But the next thing is we need to keep turning these moving averages and finding support and doing all that kind of stuff. And they just got oversold. All right. So we're going to be waiting and finding another way to get into this stuff and doing all that. Let me just take a moment here, and is it this one? No, that's not one. Just want to remind everybody because clearly we have new people in here, and I want to make sure people who don't know anything about me, they know where to come. You can go over here to profitpilot.com. It's profit-pilot.com. This is where you can find the newsletters that I write. There is actually quite a bit of information in there. I was telling you earlier that a lot of people, I get a lot of emails saying like, hey, thanks for writing these things. They're actually very informative. There's always some tidbit of information in there. And I kind of leave it all out there to dry. So yeah, go check that out if you guys want any other information about the services that I provide. You can go over here to services. So that's where you guys can find me for anybody who's new. And I know we're on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. So just want to make sure everybody can get their questions answered. All right, let's see what else you guys are looking at. FI, I don't know that one. Frank's International. Okay, I do know that. It's been a long time since I've looked at that one. Yeah, it looks like it's a possible trampoline move. So you see here how price is below the hourly 50, but the Moxie indicator is above zero. And we could be looking at a level here and positive divergence here. So as long as price can get back on track and keep following these moving averages up, then this one looks like it might keep going. So good find on that one. That looks like that was an earnings pop. And yeah, so I got more I could talk about that one, but that was an earnings thing. So you'd have to be in for earnings. It's honestly kind of a guess. That's why I just don't like to trade earnings. And then let's see, AM. I personally tend to stay away from any of the oil-related stuff just because look how messy this chart is. This is not anything I'd really be comfortable trading. I like to be precise. I like to operate mostly on the hourly time frame. And when you look at this, that is very, very difficult to work with. Like that is just some chop. Now, if you kind of squint your eyes and you zoom out a little bit, you could probably trade this better on the weekly or daily time frame. The daily is fairly smooth. You can see there's a level here, and there's a level here, even here. Again, earnings. So I don't like to trade earnings, but it did a trampoline move. Look here on the daily chart. There's a trampoline move. There's a trampoline move. That's when price dips below the 50 and the Moxie indicator is above zero. And it's a high buoyancy trade. So far, if this thing can keep going, actually I see a trampoline move here on the hourly too. If it can keep going and stay over these moving averages, then yeah, it looks all right. Yeah, Box. Now, Box and Dropbox are two names that I was covering in my class that I had a few weeks ago. I chose to probably go, well, I said I liked Dropbox better because its chart looked better, it's cleaner. But Box had news, and we were just kind of waiting. And look, these things, here is how stocks follow the market. You see how Box was like just waiting, 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 waiting. Had it wasn't doing what the market was doing. Like the market sold off. Did Box sell off? No, it wasn't doing anything. It was just coiled in through there. And all it wanted to know was when was the market done going down. And this happened. This pop happened as soon as the market stopped going down. So you see how that's what traders do, that's what stocks do. They're looking around at this and they're like, okay, what is the market doing? And is the coast clear to go do something? And so Box, I believe, for no other reason, only said, "Oh, the market's done going down. Now I can move. Now I can go up and start putting money towards it." So that's what that did. As I said, I didn't like this one as much because it's super choppy. Like that would not have been fun. And then it went down and just up, and it's just very choppy for me. So I think Dropbox a little bit smoother. I'm looking for another entry on Dropbox. Now, as far as Box goes, look what it's doing. You see here, it's at the previous kind of like all-time high for this. Well, there's going to be some natural resistance. Not to mention you're up here at the third ATR, not to mention you've gone vertical. So I always talk about things that whenever you go vertical, it's great, but you've outrun all of your support. You have nothing below you. So, at some point it's going to come back down. And Gwen, I don't know if you're out there, but waste management, we would talk about this one, right? This one moved further than we thought, which is great, but you got to get out at the top. Like I think I forgot where we were talking about this, but somewhere, I guess it was on Monday, we had another live session, and I said, yeah, this is pretty great. I'd be taking some off because, look, you're right here at the previous high, so right there, previous high. So that's going to be natural resistance. And you're out here at the daily third ATR, and you're way off of the third ATR, hourly 50, all that kind of stuff. Let me kind of scroll down and see if you're out there, Gwen. Yeah, there you are. I see you. So yeah, I'm sure you took some off. Now, what I would personally do is just wait. I'd be out of this thing. Just wait and see what happens next, because at least price will have to figure out what it wants to do with the hourly 50, whether it comes down to it or sideways to it, and then you can reassess. I personally think this thing is going to keep coming down because what do we talk about, Gwen? This thing is most likely going to have to come back down to its daily 50. Now, it's not guaranteed, but that would be kind of the next opportunity, next entry that I'd be looking for. Because if you look at TSCO, Tractor Supply, yeah, right here, see that? Look how many times this thing needed to come back down to its daily 50, all right? So each stock has its own kind of personality, and you have to kind of be aware of that and make sure you're safe with it. Yeah, Sumik, you're right. Yeah, waste management is now stuck at the underside of the 15-minute 50. Yep. So you guys are getting it. I know I got some Moxie people in here, so that's great. And let's see. Yeah, oil. I see oil is all that. Paul, let me address what you're thinking. So IWM for short, I'd be careful because I really think that we're starting to look up for the market. I want to go long for the market. And while I do think the market's going to pull back to support, like yes, there is an opportunity for a short here. It may not. You're kind of going against the grain, right? That's kind of what it is. Is if I'm trying to go long the market and yeah, okay, I see a pullback. Why do I want to take this little tiny trade in front of a giant truck that I think is coming? So just be careful about something like that, because yes, if this thing comes back down and it comes back down to the hourly 50, if that's right, and if the market also wants to go up, then what it's going to do once it hits there, it's going to just shoot right back up. And if you're not quick about your trade, you're going to get run over. So just go with the trend. I think the trend is up. Yes, there's a pullback, but I would generally go with the trend overall. Yeah, and Adam, Wi-Fi, I think I've spoke about this one a while ago, and I said I liked it. You can see my marks on here. It did turn around, but then earnings, it shot up. I'm guessing they got bought out or something. There must be some deal. The volume's too low. I was looking at it as a chart. I liked it from a chart perspective, but the volume's too low. There's no way that I can get in here with the amount of people that I have following me. I've learned my lesson about that when I first came to Simpler. And right now, this looks kind of funny. So I don't really know what's going on with that. You might want to do some more research and see if they got bought out or if there's a price something. Those are weird because if you look at like work, look, it did the same thing. So look at that as an example, and they just don't go anywhere after the fact. So be careful with Wi-Fi. There's something behind the scenes going on with them as far as the business. All right, let's Kim. Yeah, with Solo, this is going to be the story of all these names that were horrendously oversold. They're bouncing, great, but they're not in an uptrend yet. And that was what I was talking about earlier today. Is that we still just have to wait for the process to pan out. Like things got so crazily oversold, and finally they're turning around, but we have to be patient until we actually get new uptrends. Like, look, the hourly 50 is still in a downtrend. All right. So yeah, nothing much to do there. And let's look at some of the big dogs. Amazon, same thing. Look, even Amazon got sold into. So do you see how even this, they're all the same thing. This looks just like Solo, and it looks like Tiger, and they all the name, anything that got ripped down over the last two and a half weeks, they're all doing the same thing. They're just repairing themselves. They're trying to stop going down. They're trying to confirm the low, and they're trying to turn their moving averages to the upside so that we can start going long. It's the same thing. I mean, look at this. It's the same thing with the NASDAQ. Like, do you see how the NASDAQ looks the same? And the stocks follow the indexes, all right? Of course, there are things that are going up during this time. Let's see, I think RCL was something like that. It was going up while the market was going down, sure. But I've been talking about this. I said, I think that some of these reopening names, the names that were actually going up when the market was going down, I said, I think it's a rotation. I think it's a temporary rotation. And I think that money is just going there to hide out during the bloodbath that is happening with the rest of the market. So yeah, that was that. And so far it looks correct because these did not hold the hourly 50. They were super extended on the daily chart. And actually this was a bit of an inverse trampoline move on the 15-minute time frame. And they got handily sold into and then bounced, and they are still underneath the hourly 50 with the Moxie indicator below zero. So these, if they are going to go up, they need more time. This too needs to wait. And I think something like when doing better but not really going anywhere. So I'm not super comfortable with them yet. We'll have to see. So be careful with that stuff. So Greg, SOS, that's going to be, again, with the crypto plays, the Bitcoin related. So they're going to be trading the same way that I was talking about Riot and GBTC. So if you want to look at that, that's how they're going to go. Yeah, Marlis, Divergence, let's see, RCL, Divergence on the hourly. Not Divergence. This is actually just a exit. Like, this is either a short or you should absolutely not be in this thing, kind of, because price is running into the underside of a downtrending hourly 50 with the Moxie indicator below zero. That says don't be in there. So yeah, for now. All right, Ahmed, let's see. NOVN. Okay, it's got decent volume, a little dollar stock. I'm not afraid of trading those things. So far, I'm looking at this thing initially is probably bouncing off of the daily 50. Now, in order to confirm and verify that it's going to actually bounce off the daily 50, because there's no guarantee that it's going to, you have to look lower at the lower time frames to see if this is going to hold. For now, I'm starting to see some of that. You can see price down, Moxie indicator flat. That's a form of positive divergence. So you got some divergence coming in there. And then right now, you're kind of just working your way through. Like, you are still getting rejected by the underside of the hourly 200. The Moxie indicator is still below zero. It's not totally holding the 15-minute 50 yet. So give it a little bit more time. Looks like it's trying, but don't be surprised if it moves down a little bit further, because if anybody knows my patterns, you're probably at the arch of the foot on the daily chart. So I wouldn't be surprised to see price come down just a little bit more like that. Let's see if it holds. And if it holds and starts to move up, then it should be okay. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Yeah, Ron. Yep, Genius taking off. Great. Happy to hear that. So yes, we're going to be hanging on to that one. I think that one's going to move for a while. Let's see. Jonathan, good to see you, buddy. Let's see. One of the killers on Win that it had big negative divergence on the daily. No, that may be thing. That might be a thing. You're talking about this, price up, Moxie indicator down. That might be a thing. Let me go back to the SPY and I'll show you the daily divergence that did kick in. This might be a thing, so be aware of it. Mostly what I saw as being the killer for win was, look, it got overbought. It was you can see right there, it even jumped off of the daily 8 EMA and it got way outside of that third ATR. And then you could just see, like, look, even as price on the hourly chart kept trying to go sideways, just look at the Moxie indicators, it bleeding down. There just was no hope. And really, if you kind of look here, you think, huh, price kept moving up like that, but the Moxie indicator kept going down and down and down and down. And the 15-minute was not very strong, and it's still not very strong. So just be careful with some of these things, because I just don't see it yet. And if you look at the SPY, actually, here's some daily divergence. I've been talking about this for a little while. See how the Moxie indicator kept going down even though price kept going up? That was an issue. And I'm still aware of that. That's why we need to be careful about the market. We always need to be careful about the market. I'm expecting a pullback, and I want to make sure it holds. And we'll see if we actually get going. Or, what is the other side of the story? What if, and this is what you always have to think, what if, like what's the alternative? What if the market actually just keeps going up, does a double top? This is an inverse trampoline move now because price should not be over the 50 if the Moxie indicator is below zero. And what if this is actually setting us up for a really, really big down move? That's possible. That's really, really possible. So where you have to keep watching and waiting and seeing, hey, if we get a little bit of a pullback in the market, does it hold? And then do we go back up? And if we do, great. But if we don't go up, and if we keep moving down, and we get back underneath these moving averages, and these moving averages start pushing and guiding us down, all bets off, and we need to be careful again. So that's why we always need to look at this stuff and be careful. All right, we'll do like one more. Mac, yeah, I got into this one. It looked like it might have been a safety play. We did this during one of the live sessions. It's still okay. I'd be willing to say if you want to get into it. I personally not a huge fan. I don't know just how much they're going to go. It was kind of in that reopening category. I know there was a big spike, but yeah, it's a REIT. They're not supposed to be super exciting. But yes, it is holding the daily 50. There is a squeeze. The 8 is over the 21. It did a trampoline move right there, and right now you are starting to get the 50 crossing the 200. So if you do like this name, Skin Squeeze, it seems like it's got all the things ready. We did take a trade here. It worked out for a day, and then the market rolled over and took it down with it. So it's since, if you look here, its since has not fallen apart. It's actually still doing pretty well. So if this is something that you want in your portfolio, I'd say sure, go for it. But now that the market's starting to recover and repair itself and some of the more interesting, exciting names are coming back alive, my personal interest is going to be with some of these other ones that have bigger moves because I trade stocks and I want money. I need to make these things move. So this one just doesn't excite me from an excitement standpoint. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to be calling it quits there. Remember, if anybody is interested in who I am and what I am, and if you guys haven't heard about me before, come over here and check out profitpilot.com. We got good newsletters over here, always a little tidbit of information in there, and good stuff to read. I always try and see, did I put any pictures in this one? I always try and do something. There we go, talking about this. Now, at some point, and Sarah, maybe you can help me, shake some leaves again. But we need to make these clickable so that when you guys, because I know they're small sometimes, but if you click on the picture, it'll make it bigger. So we're still working on that. We've got a lot of things in the pipeline that we have to be working on. So, guys, take care out there, and I will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.